Hello, grade 10 math students. I hope you're doing well. This is the fourth lesson of our quadratic unit, and today we're going to look at the two forms of quadratic equations that we briefly talked about last lesson and what information we can get about the graph directly from the equations. Okay, so I'm going to go into presentation mode here. I hope. Here we go. Okay, so let's take a look here. So our learning goal for this lesson is to be able to find key features of a parabola using standard form and factored form quadratic equations. Okay, so just a reminder from the last lesson, we used two forms of the quadratic equation. One looks like this. So x minus a number, x minus another number. And remember, these signs can also be plus signs. It's just this is the general form. This is called factored form. And then when we expanded these forms, we got a form that looked like this. A number in front of x squared plus another number times x plus a number by itself. And this is called standard form. So what we're going to do today is graph equations in these forms and see what information we can pull out of those equations from the graph. Okay, so what there is for you to do is there's an investigation for you to do actually before I share with you what the summary is. So in your Brightspace classrooms, if you find 4.4 standard factored form investigation, you can go through it. What you're going to do is you're going to enter each equation into Desmos. You're going to do a quick sketch of the graph. You're going to label the key points. So remember, the key points are the x-intercepts, so where it goes through the horizontal axis, the y-intercept, where it goes through the vertical axis, and the vertex, okay, so the top or the bottom of the parabola, and fill in the table at the bottom of this page. There it is. Okay. And then there's going to be a conclusion at the bottom. And so the first page, all of the equations are in standard form. Something x squared plus something x plus something else. Okay. The second page, the equations are in factored form. So you can see they're in those two binomial forms. And so you're going to do the same thing, go into Desmos, type this in, and then sketch the graph and then label those key points like the same as above and then fill in the table. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do the first one with you so you can see how I've done them. And I will also post this handout filled in so you can check your work. Okay, so let's do this one together. We'll do number one together. So let's go back to my thing here. It's all filled in here, but let's go to Desmos just to see how I got this information. So you're going to go to Desmos, desmos.com, start graphing, and then we're going to type in, I'm just going to move this over here, type in the equation. So y equals x squared minus 2x, oops, x squared minus 2x, and was it plus 3? No, minus 3. Minus 3. Okay, so here is the graph of it. And remember, you're going to just do a quick sketch, okay? But you're going to write down the coordinate of the x-intercepts. So there's the two x-intercept coordinates. You're going to write down the coordinate of the y-intercept, so where it goes through the y-axis. And you're going to also write down the coordinate of the turning point, what we call the vertex, right? Now, what we're going to do is we're going to take that, we're going to go back to our presentation here. Okay, and this is how I sketched it. It's not perfect by all means. Just do your best. You can see mine's crooked, doesn't matter. You're going to label your x-intercepts. You're going to label your y-intercept, and you're going to label your vertex point. Okay, now once you have this information, you can fill in the table that's at the bottom of the page. So the vertex is a point, so it's going to be 1, -4. Your x-intercepts, you should write these down as points. So here's an example of how to do that. Remember, your first value in a coordinate like that is your x, so it's going to be -1, and the y value is 0. So -1 and 0, and then 3, 0 are your x-intercepts. Your y-intercept, x is 0 and y is -3. Direction of opening, that just means what direction is it opening it? So this is the opening, right? So it's opening up. And max or min, that just means is the vertex, is it the lowest point? So that would be a minimum value. Or if it's flipped the other way, is it a maximum point? Well, because the vertex is at the very bottom of this parabola, it's a minimum value. So you're going to put in minimum value. And that's how you fill out that table. Okay, so I'd like you to pause the video here. Go take a look at that handout and try to do the investigation on your own. Okay, welcome back. I'm sure you did the whole form that you needed to do the handout, and I hoped it made sense going through the investigation. If not, remember I posted my solution to the investigation on Brightspace. So the summary at the end of the first page when we were looking at standard form equation, so what you should have seen, if we have an equation that looks like this, the y-intercept is given by c. So if you have an equation like this, if you're asked for the y-intercept, you can just say it's whatever number is in the c position, okay? Also in this equation, the direction of the opening of the parabola is given by the sign of A. So the number in front of X. So if A is positive, and you can think of it like this, if it's positive, it's happy, and so it looks like a smile. And if A is negative, it's sad, so it looks like a frown. So this would be for a positive A value. It's happy, so it's smiling. You can see this looks like a smile, so it's opening up. And if it's negative, it's sad, so he's frowning or she, and so it's opening down. Okay, so that's the summary at the bottom of the investigation of the first page. And then the second page, you took a look at factored form equations. And what you should have seen is if you have this equation, the x-intercepts are given by the numbers in the s spot and in the t spot, but you have to take the opposite sign that's there. So if it's x minus 3 and x minus 2, then your zeros, or sorry, your x-intercepts are actually 3 and 2. Okay? And just like with standard form, if you look at this equation, the direction of opening is given by the sign in front. So there's a value here. It's going to be the sign of this A. Okay, so same rules apply. So if A is positive, it's happy, it's smile, so it's opening up. And if A is negative, it's sad, it has a frown, so it's opening down. Okay. And that is it for the lesson. And the lesson's short because you had to do an investigation on your own. If you don't have the time to do that, of course, you can just look at my solutions. For practice questions, I've made up a Desmos card sort activity. So if you go to students.desmos.com in any browser, it's going to ask you to type in a code. You're going to type in this code. It might ask you to sign in. If it asks you to sign in, you have to use your GoTV DSB account and password. Okay. So what happens in that card sort is there's, I think, 24 different cards, and there's a graph and two equations and a list of key features that should go together in a group, and there's four groups. Okay. Once you've done this and done the investigation, you can go ahead and try lesson 4.4 quadratic forms quiz on Brightspace. Just so you know, you do get to try those quizzes twice. I try to give you feedback after the first time you do it so that you can improve your results on the second time. Okay, that is it for that lesson. So please let me know if you have any questions. You can always use the envelope icon in the top right corner of Brightspace to get in touch. Okay, guys, thanks for listening. I hope you're doing well, and I will talk to you next time. Bye-bye.